of the key stages of getting past the fear of riding a motorbike, whether that's because you've been off the bike quite a number of years or that you've just passed your test, is understanding the physics of the bike. Now, although you know that you may need to countersteer by pushing on the right bar to go right and pushing on the left bar to go left, but to look at it in detail, it's not just what the bike can do, it's what we do, meaning our body. Now, when we go around a corner, as well as pushing on the bars, our body wants to be central with the bike. What a lot of people do, because it's against our instinct, is when the bike leans, their body stays completely upright. So their bike is banked over and their body is upright. So if I do that, it's really working against what the bike wants to do. The bike wants to go around the corner, but because your body is straight, it's very unstable. So work with the bike. As we go around this corner, I'm pushing on the left bar, but also I'm leaning the top half of my body round. I'm keeping my head up, and I'm looking where I want to go. Because, again, working against our instinct is, if we feel fear, then we're going to look at what we don't want to hit. And when we look at what we don't want to hit, guess what we're going to hit? 99.9999% of the time. We're going to hit the tree if we're going to look at that. We don't want to do that. So we want to keep our head up and look where we want that bike to go. So to go through that, when we're banking the bike over, when the bike is leaning over, pushing on the bars, depending on which corner you're doing. For example, we are going round a left corner and then a right bend, so I'm leaning my body slightly. Right bend, leaning my body with it. So I'm keeping my body central to the bike. With the top half, I'm just leaning it slightly to tighten the turn up and to keep the bike stable. While all of that, I'm using gentle inputs on the throttle to keep the suspension nice and even, so I don't upset the suspension. I'm doing that because I don't want to upset the grip of the tyres, because obviously that is the only grip we have. So if I'm going to open the throttle too much going around a bend, it's going to look wide and we're going to go into the verge. And if I come off the throttle while I'm going round a corner, midway round a corner, it will unstabilise the bike and we maybe won't get round there. Now, I'm not saying when we go around the corner, when the limit point opens up, that we need to open the throttle. If we have misjudged it, then we can come off the throttle slightly and maintain the course. But what I'm talking about here is if we monumentally fuck up and we've not left ourselves that room for error, then coming off your throttle will completely unstabilise the bike. Let me show you. So coming around this right hand bend, I'm going to come off the throttle slightly, and yes, it's still stable, but I can feel the bike lurching forward. So midway around the corner, let's open our throttle slightly. It's better to enter the corner slower than what we think, to give us that room for error, and then as we can see the corner and we've got a feel for that corner, we can then gently open the throttle. Now, I'm not teaching you to suck eggs, you know what to do, but it's how to finesse that, how to feel the confidence that the bike is stable. And obviously, for the bike to be stable, it's our inputs on the bike. You see, now a lot of people might go into loads and loads of detail, but I want to keep things simple, because keeping things simple while many things are happening on the road is the key to success and understanding what the bike can do. Now, along with all of the things, you know, positioning, mirror checks, we're talking about bike control here, and our control as well. Because the more we're smooth on the bike, the more we will feel comfortable on the bike. Now, of course, that's easy to say, because all of us are our own worst enemy. You know, we get scared, we stiffen up on the bike, so the bike is rigid, and we just lose it. So if we, you know, take things in stages and steps, if we get so far and then we've just lost concentration, let's go back to the beginning and slow the process down. So, you know, let's start right from the beginning and let's loosen our body. Because drop your shoulders, lift your head up, and just let the bike do its thing. You know, we don't have to work against it. Now, working against it is going against our instinct, which is when we go around the corner, we straighten our body up. The bike's leaning, but our body's still upright. Or it's, you know, when the bike loses speed round the corner, we don't follow through with that smooth throttle control. Again, when we brake, you know, we get scared and nervous, so we're just going to grab the brake, and it's going to potentially cause a skid. So if we see a developing hazard ahead, just touch the brakes, let the brake pads touch the discs to get that friction, and then we can apply some more gently. Now, that's all easy said and done, but it is all about understanding what's the best course of action and how we can develop that. And how we can develop on improving ourselves is by practicing and with assurance and guidance. And that is how I come in as a coach, by looking at your riding and going through the coaching review. Now, if you're very competent and you only need to work on a few little bits, no, you haven't lost me on the radio, but I don't need to talk so much. But if you are beginning from back to biking after 20 odd years, then you may need a little bit more reassurance, and I'll just chip in with little tips along the way. Because I don't want to be talking like this, do I, while you're riding, because that would be very off-putting. Unless you find my voice sexy, of course, you might enjoy it.